Hey guys, this is Lonnie. How you guys doing? Coming to you with a quick Lonnie life lesson, hopefully. This life lesson is, I would say, from Proverbs 24:17, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to sum it up because I can't remember exactly the Bible verse itself. It states basically never to rejoice when your enemy falls, kind of thing. And with that being said, let me get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation. But pause. Let me talk about the current events. The date is Friday, August the, what is this? August the 14th, 2026. What's in the hot topics for Atlanta is that there's the West Nile virus that's in one of the parts of Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, the southwest part. Also, the Nolan Wells case is still ongoing, and now it's talk about why the mother has not released the phone to the authorities when Ben Crump and the mother stated that they wanted to do everything together in one setting versus how they did the body, and the body was sent twice to one time Mississippi had it, the second time the other autopsy was done missing certain items from the body. And so anyway, that's the hot topic, my personal opinion about the Nolan Wells situation. And the other two black gentlemen who are unalived, so it makes three, is that I'm not sure if it was done by racial motivation or prejudice or whatever, but what I will say is that the cover up, or what appears to be a cover up, is serious. And given the climate of our government and how things seem to be going in government by watching the news and everything, I don't know if this will be answers that the family would get anytime soon. But anyway, moving right along. By the Bible verse 24, Proverbs 24:17, stating don't gloat when your enemy has fallen and stuff of that nature. I will go ahead and put the Bible verse in the description later. However, with saying all that to say this, is that 2 years ago, I moved down to Florida to be closer to my dad and his family. Unfortunately, things just didn't go the way that I anticipated. So I had to make a quick decision to move back to Georgia, Atlanta, so that way I can try to rebuild what I had before. In the process of doing that, I took a job um, that really tested my faith as a person, my ability to manage people, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The job transferred me about 3 different times. Each time I was transferred, I was sent further away from where I was living. Finally, I was given an interview with one of the stores, the last store I was transferred to, and the store manager said, "Hey, the job is yours if you want it. It was going to be a lot more money. I could set my hours, do whatever I wanted to do, and so on and so forth." However, there was a lot of red tape that I didn't realize that I had to jump through. And I was transferred to the store, but I was not given that position. I was transferred as a manager, but that was it. Um, and it was hell. I stayed in that position for about maybe 6 months. To finally, the last straw was one of the employees or associates that worked under me threatened me. And I went to a friend of mine who acts as my attorney as well, and they stated to me I should have called the police, filed a report because my safety was in jeopardy. However, the only thing I did was just simply call corporate because I didn't want to go that extra mile by calling the police and making a big scene about everything. And so I just went and I kind of just let the job go and found another job. I prayed about it for for a long time. I was doing interviews. I just wasn't getting the traction that I needed to move forward. And finally, I guess the universe answered my call, and another position making a hell of a lot more money came, and I decided to take it. However, after I left the company, about 6 months after I left, I got a text message from one of my old coworkers. Now, this coworker was another manager who texted me, and I kept asking him, I'm just like, look here, I left this company. I'm not understanding why you texting me, because when I was there, this employee, I'm going to call her Stephanie Mills. Stephanie Mills would question my management style and question me as a manager and telling me that this is like, I don't get this and I don't understand this. Meanwhile, she would try to record. One time she recorded me using her cell phone. Her face of the phone was facing her. However, the backside of her phone was facing me. And it was a bright freaking light shining in my face from her camera, from the phone. So I'm just like, by chance, are you recording me? And she said, no, I'm not recording you. About a week later, I was told by the store manager, yes, she did record me. And the store manager, I'm gonna call her, we're gonna say Zala. Zala stated that no, I did not put her up to it. This is something that Stephanie Mills decided that she was gonna do. And I just didn't understand. It was like being in a place where constantly my mental was being challenged, and the common sense that God gave me, and the common sense that my mother and father and my family helped me to cultivate. It was always being challenged, and meanwhile, I was working with people who was like ex out of jail, who had a jail history, who had a drug history, just people who I'm just like, you guys lived a life that I've never lived, a life that I prayed to God that I would never live. And here it is, I'm being faced with the same things that I've always prayed to God to not allow me to go through. And if I do go through, God, please grant me the wisdom and knowledge to overcome it, to just look past it, so that way I don't end up in the same position. And I'm not saying that these people did not do that. However, this was the situation that I was in, and I had to get through it. So I left that job in January. About June, this past June, I got a call from Stephanie Mills. Well, a text from Stephanie Mills. It took me about 3 weeks I responded to her that same day, but she wanted me to call her. And it was just like, the company itself left a bitter taste in my mouth. And I couldn't force myself to like just hear what was going on. It's like I'm past that. It's almost like being in a bad relationship with somebody, and a friend of yours who decides that they want to keep in contact with your ex. They want to tell you, hey, your ex is gone. I'm like, oh, like I've moved on. I don't want to hear it. However, it was like one of those situations. But anyway, moving right along. I finally gave Stephanie a call, which was about maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. Stephanie Mills then told me that, hey, this is what's going on right now. They fired our manager because of something that she did to another manager. And OSHA, the manager that got screwed over, decided to go to OSHA. Not just go to corporate, but go to OSHA. So when they went to OSHA, I was told that everything that I had called in about, everything that anybody else called in about, OSHA looked into every single thing, and the manager ended up getting fired, as well as if I'm not mistaken, district manager. We're gonna call her Angela Winbush. Angela Winbush ended up getting fired, and I didn't know how to feel. I was like, I was like, wow. And so Stephanie Mills asked me, like, hey, Lonnie, this is the perfect time for you to come back, and maybe you can be the store manager now, or maybe you can go up the chain a little bit further. And da da da. I'm like, that's something I can look into. But thank you for letting me know and encouraging me to sign back up. But I'm just still processing how the manager got fired and what, like, I'm just still sitting in that. And at the same time, it just kind of reinforced in me that the dirt you do to people will come back to you. What goes around comes around, kind of thing. And part of me wanted to celebrate and say, you know what? All that bullshit that they put me through, I'm so glad she got what she, like, I really wanted to say all that on that phone call. But a part of me just felt really sad for that manager, is that you put me through all of that bull crap, and you did it, and you constantly did it to different people. And here it is, you're now in a situation that you just lost your job because of the foolishness. And even now I'm faced with similar situation at a job that I have, and the different management styles and the different politics that's going on at work. That's one of the reasons I think personally, maybe that's why I have not gotten further in life than where I want to be, because I sometimes want to be cutthroat with people. I sometimes want to just be cutthroat and just like, bye. And just be, I can't really, if I could just use a few words to describe the feeling. But I always find comfort, although I don't believe every single thing that might be in the Bible. Like, some things you have to take with a not literally, but other things in the Bible, I always feel as though that it's human behavior. It is something that you can aspire to being, and also to let you look back and look at different people and situations, so that way if you see yourself going down that route, you might want to just fall back and kind of like say, okay, well, let me ease on up. But anyway, that was the Lonnie life lesson that I wanted to share. It was on my heart to share, so I wanted to share it. And I think that I've taken up a little bit too much of everybody's time. So anyway, with that being said, remember, try to treat people the same way you would like to be treated. And also, remember, if you don't love you, nobody else will. And if you don't, you better wake up, because it's a beautiful feeling. And until next time, guys, I will definitely strive to come and give you more of a juicy and humorous Lonnie's life lesson with moving forward. So thank you guys for taking the time out to view my video, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.